Once again, my dear students of grade 9, welcome back to my English class. It's RK English YouTube channel. Students, today we are at unit number 14, and in today's lesson, we will talk about reading to part of unit number 14. In unit number 14 and reading part 2, we have a text that is history of money that we are going to discuss in today's lesson here. Before discussing students, it's a text, let's talk about the picture here given. Look at the picture and answer the following question. Students, what do you see in the picture? There are three objects are given here. Can you recognize all these? Yes, students, the first picture is, yes, question is here. What are these currencies? Yes, students, can you know about this currency? This is a 100 rupees note and it's a Nepali currency. Okay, not 100 rupees. This is 1000 rupees note of Nepali currency. In the second one, we can see a coin. It is also Nepali currency, students. It's a coin. And the third picture we can see it's a US currency and it's a dollar, $100. Students, all these are the currencies of different country, Nepal and USA. Second question we have, what would happen if we didn't have money? Can you guess, can you imagine, students, what will happen if we don't have money? It's very clear, students, if we don't have money, we wouldn't be able to buy anything. Okay, and means without having money, we don't be able to buy food, we won't be able to buy goods and all things. So this is all about, students, here your question and answer, okay, about this picture. Now it's time to move the text here, the history of money. Let's start the text. The use of money is as old as human civilization. Students, in the first line, the use of money means you can say the history of money is as old as the human civilization, means the use of money dates back to human civilization. Money is basically a mean of exchange, and coins and notes are just items of exchange. Yes, here we have to understand what is money. Money is something, students, that is used to trade things. Okay, means trade means business, and we can say trade businesses. And this is something that is used for trading the things. For example, students, coins and notes are just item of exchange. For example, coins and notes means here means bank notes, paper notes. Coins and banks are the example of money that we use in our daily life in order to trade and in order to do business. But money wasn't always in the same form. The money today and is still as developing. Yes, students, but money didn't always look like it does today, students. It didn't always look like it does it today, and it continues to change. Rather, it continues to change. It didn't look like it does today. Okay, students, I hope you have understood this paragraph. In this paragraph, we have talked about the history of money. Means history of money is very, very long, okay, as old as human civilization. And money is all about, trading something, for example, we use coins and banknote in order to do our business. But nowadays the money is continuously changing. You can see many changes in money, in doing trade. So we are now opting different types of transaction nowadays. Digital transaction, we have virtual transaction, bitcoin, so and all. Okay, let's talk about the next paragraph here. Before the invention of money, the basic of early commerce was barter, a system of direct exchange of one product for another. Okay, before the invention means before the money was invented, there was a system that is called barter system, student. That system where goods are exchanged. Okay, goods were uh, exchanged without money. Means if you give someone something, in return you will get, okay, something. And this is what we call barter system. This system was developed before the invention of money. Yes, before there was no money. And okay, there was money. People traded good directly with each other. This system was called students barter system, where there was no money but goods were exchanged. Okay, students subsequently both livestock, particularly cattle, and plant products such as grain came used to as money in different societies at different students during that before the invention of money. Both livestock, particularly living things, we can see one is cattle and other is the plant products such as grain. Animals and plants were to be used in the form of money in different society. The people started using cattle, animals like cow, buffalo, and cat as a money, and also they started using grain also, from the agriculture product in different society. Cattle are probably the oldest of all forms of money, as the domestication of animals tending to precede the cultivation of crops. The one of cattle are probably perhaps cattle might be the oldest form of money, where people start they use the cattle in the form of money, as domestication of animals tending to precede the cultivation of crop. Yeah, in this line, students, kettles had been used as a means of payment long before farming became commonplace. Okay, for the harvest, for plant for the harvest. The earliest evidence of banking is found in Mesopotamia between 3000 and 2000 BC, when temples were used to store grain and other valuables used in trade. One of the best example of an evidence and proof of the banking system we can found in 3000 to 2000 BC in Mesopotamia, where people used to keep and store their food grain and their valuable items in the temple. Means this was the main evidence of banking. Perhaps probably okay, the earliest evidence we can say banking can be traced back in Mesopotamia. And they, yes, of course, students, they used to keep their and store their valuable items and valuable things, in our system, today's system, if we have to keep our some precious item like golds or ornaments and other valuables, so things and paper, we go for banking for the there is a locker system in the banking nowadays in today's system. Similarly, in older time, they used to keep their items and food grain in the temple. So this was the evidence of banking system, oldest banking system. In this paragraph, students, we have talked about some money, how they used, and what are the form of money, and some banking system. Now in this paragraph, I'll take to next one. At some of the earliest currencies were objects from nature. Students, some of the currencies, okay, which were found from the nature. A good notable example is cowrie shells. Here is the word cowrie shells means, students, it's a small sea creature. As you can see in the picture here, it's like a cowrie shell is like this small sea creature which is found in the sea, first used as money about 1200 BC. Yes, this cowrie shell, this is the example of first money, that people used, and this was the first one which was first discovered around when 12,000 BC. Although many may seem a pretty random choice, the shell have a number of advantages. Yes, students. It was used as a means of payment. People use it, okay, as a means of payment, and although it may seem like a random choice, the shell had several advantages, but it has a many advantages. This cowrie shell. And what were those advantages? Let's talk. They were similar in size, small and durable. The main advantage of this cowrie shell was that they were very smaller in size, and they were long lasting, and durability of this was very long, students, and they were also smaller in size. While the mollusk is also soft, you can say creatures like a snail and octopus. Students, it's like a creature also small, very interesting one, and people started using like some sea creature like this, very amazing thing as in the form of money. It's very amazing one, very interesting also. The second one, while the mollusks that produce a shell are found in the coastal, located near a coast. waters of Indian and Pacific Ocean. The expansion of trade means that even some European countries accepted. Yes, students, okay. As I told you that these shells are smaller in size and durable also. And in the Pacific, in the Indian Pacific and in Indian Pacific Ocean, students, there were self-forming that we called mollusk, self-forming mollusk that is called bivalves. And due to increased trade, these shells were used as currency in some European country. Means some of the European country also adopted this all these creature in the form of money. Means this cowrie shell, which are smaller in size and very durable, and people of some European country also started using this cowrie shell in the form of money. Very interesting one, students. It's in sea, it's like sea creature, and people, started using this also in the form of money. Shells in the form of wampum is also a type of currency in US also. It was a type of currency were used as money by Native American. Yes, Native American also used a special shell that is called wampum. This is also shell, students. This is a wampum also, yeah? Creature also, which was used as a currency in US. Another currency from nature was whale teeth. Yes, students, another one was very interesting one. It was also from the sea creature. It was also a sea creature. Whale means it's a big fish. Teeth, fish teeth. And which are used by Fijian. Yes, students, in Fiji, people used fish teeth. We can say whale teeth as another currency which was introduced after wampum in USA, and then it was whale teeth also, which were used in the form of currency in Fiji. And the people of Yap Island carved huge disc of limestone. Here means, student, it's a kind of carbonate rock. It's a rock that eventually became currency and remained as a part of Iceland culture. Yes, students. Also people of it's a Yap Island created a large slice, large piece of it's a limestone, which became money and remained part of the Iceland culture. Now, again, students, the next paragraph, very interesting one. While the use of metal for money can be traced back to Babylon before 2000 BSC, standardized and certified coinage may not have existed until the 7th century BC. Here, students, in the paragraph, we are now going to talk about the modernization of this money system. In ancient, in older time, the people of Babylon, student, it's a we can say before, Babylon used metal as a currency. Now people of Babylon, they started using metal currency as a practice that began early as 2000 BC, and this all practice began around as early 2000 BC, and which was standardized means make consistent, and certified means approved by the government and the authority. And these standardized and certified and approved coins may not have existed until the 7th century BC. But according to many historian who studies about history, it was during historian means experts in history, students, until it was during this time that the kingdom of it's Lydia. It's Lydia is also a name of the place, and in present day Turkey issued the first regulated in the control form coin. Here in the students, it was the time, students. It was the during means it was the time that kingdom of Lydia, represented, that is Turkey, introduced they introduced the force control coinage, and yes, they issued a force control coinage, that is how they appeared during the origin of king. It's Elites 610 to 560 BSC, and were made of electrum. Electrum means a mixture of metals, a natural mixture of gold and silver. Students, during that era, and it remained, you can say, students, but it remained unchanged, and that so-called object were created during the reign of the king Ariates. During the reign of the king elites, that was 610 to 560, and a new coin was introduced, which are the mixture of metal, and these objects are made from it's electrum, means it's a mixture of metal called electrum, and which was a combination of gold and silver, means it was a coin of gold and silver, mixture of gold and coin, and it was made from metal that is called the electrum, and this was the new form of the metal currency. Crudely shaped like beans, these coins feature the royal symbol of a lion. It's Alite's sons Kores reformed the king's currency, producing silver coins and gold coins. So such currency began appearing elsewhere. Students, as we have talked about the invention of currency in this paragraph and how it was invented, and they started inventing it from the electrum, the mixture of gold. Then they they made a currency from electrum, and which was the combination of gold and silver during the king Aeetes, and later students, the object, these currency were made from material, as I told you, and these coin are also shaped, bean shaped, and had a picture of lion on this coin. There had a picture of lion, it's and a picture of lion on them, and Aretes, also known as Croesus, changed the currency of the kingdom and brought silver and gold coin. Soon students, the people of the different places started using this type of coin, which was recently developed and introduced. And we can say in the last, in the paragraph, soon such currencies began appearing elsewhere, means soon the people of the different countries started using this currency. Students, here in this paragraph, we have talked about the invention of metal currency, how it was invented and when it was invented and who invented this. All we have talked about the metal currency in the second paragraph. Students, I hope you have understood this paragraph. And here are some vocabulary words, students. You have to learn first, and then you have to understand the comprehension here. And I will take to the another paragraph. Next one here, students. About the 6th century BCE, leather and animal hide began to fashion into currency. Here, leather, students, the things which is derived from the animal skins, that is called leather, and animal dyed also animal skin. Around 600, around 600, 6th century BC, in the 4th century, we can say, and people began using what, leather and animal skin as a currency. People started using all, then around 6th century, the skin of animals and the leather in the form of currency. Yes, early ancient Rome reportedly used this type of money. It was also found in such area as Carthage. What is now France and Russia is believed to have used leather money into Peter the Great's reign, 1682 to 1725 BCE. Yes, students, currency used in early ancient Rome, very older and early ancient Rome, and it turns out that people in it's Carthage, modern day France and Russia, and leather coins up, until the region of Peter the Great, 1618 to 1725 BC, and where people, turns out the people in Carthage, they in the modern day France and the Russia, they use this leather coin up to the region of Peter the it's a Peter the Great. The Chinese Emperor Hu Di, 140 to 87 BC, created currency out of skins from his personal collection of the white stage. It was French, French means students, out of clothing having decorative border and decorated with elaborate designs. Although no longer used, leather money may have left a lasting legacy. Legacy means here. Here's the effect, student. Chinese emperor and Chinese king also Hudi, who has used the skin animal skin in the as a money, as a currency, from 141 to 87 BCE. Okay. In order to choose in order to choose the money, he had chose the skin of the white deer. Stag means here in his he was very fond of white deer skin, and then he started using this skin as a form of money. Students, it has a decorated detail fringe like pattern all over it. It means there was design also on that skin, and although leather money is no longer in use, in influence they remain lasting. you know but although this that skin of the animals no longer they are not no longer in use nowadays, but the use of its influence and its impact may remain long lasting. In this paragraph, students, so we have studied and we have talked about some of the leather currency and skin currency, which was derived from animal skin, and some of the king also, they started using this skin in the form of money. Okay, but it is no longer in use, but this money has an impact also. And students, it's all about your in this about this paragraph. It's time to next paragraph here. Give that paper is widely believed to have originated in China. It is fitting that the country introduced paper currency. Now this is a time when the paper currency was introduced, students, that we are going to talk in this paragraph. In students, paper is though paper is then people thought, the paper is thought to have originated in China. Student, the first paper currency was introduced in China, so it's no surprise that China adopted banknotes, then that is called banknotes in recent day. And this innovation is widely thought to have currency during the its region of empire Zhenjiang 997 and 10,000 EC. And student, this is used this it is used and is very popular. Students, paper money became very popular, and when it was invented, and this invention was believed to have taken place during Emperor Xinjiang region between 997 AD and 1022. Student, it was believed that this paper note was developed and invented during the time of Emperor Xinjiang in China. It was made from the bank of mulberry. Mulberry, a student, it's a kind of trees, and it was made using the outer layer of tree. Here is bark means, students, it's the outer layer of tree. You can say skin of tree also. So, in sense, money really did grow on trees. By the late 18th and the early 19th century, paper money had spread to other part of the world. Then what happened, students? After the invention of this paper money, which was made from the skin of that tree, and in sense money actually grew from the tree. It was made from paper, and from the late 18th century to early 19th century, banknotes were widely used in different countries. Students, then after the invention of this paper money banknote in the 19th to 18th to 19th century, those banknotes were being used widely worldwide. The bulk of this currency, however, was not money in the traditional sense. Instead, it served as Leslian promissory notes, promises to pay specified amount of gold or silver, which were key in the development of bank. Students, however, most of this currency wasn't real money in its regular form, but most of the currency wasn't in its in real form, in money form, which are like promises to give a certain amount of gold or silver have contributed to the growth of banks. Students, in this paragraph, we have talked about the invention of banknotes, and the first invention of banknote was in China, and it was believed that during the Chinese emperor, it was invented in China, paper note. Then it became banknotes, and it was derived from the tree skin also. And students, then later it became popular, and different people the different countries started using this paper note. This is what we have talked about in this paragraph, and this is we have talked about the history of the paper note. Let's move to the next paragraph. Unsurprisingly, currency comes with a number of problems. One of the concern flat money. Students, one of the main problem, as expected, there may there are many problems with currencies, and one of them was with fiat currency. This is currency that is used on the order of sovereign government, and the unlike gold and silver coins has no intrinsic value. Interest intrinsic value, that is called the asset worth. Asset worth. And what was that problem? That this money, this is money created by a government, and is not as valuable as gold and silver coin. That's why this was the biggest one problem, that this is created by the government only, and it don't have the value as valuable gold and silver coins. And country can thus issue such money at will, and some did, potentially making the currency worthless students, having no value. This became such a problem that in 1821 the United Kingdom, then the later in international francis, its finance introduced the gold standard. Students, now the government, you can say that it has not the value like gold and silver, and it hasn't any asset worth. Then some of the the state have the ability also create the distribute money as they wish. Some countries may do this to excess. They were given the power and access, and causing a decline in the value of their currency. But let continue this caused so much trouble that Britain, and the leader in international finance, they adopted the gold standard in 1821. The United Kingdom, the leader international, it's yeah, they introduced what gold standard in 1821. In this monetary system, the standard unit of currency is typically kept at the value of a fixed quantity of gold, which increase confidence in international trade by preventing government from excessively issuing currency. Yes, in this monetary policy, students, the most common currencies is usually based on a certain amount of gold. This, according to this policy, monetary policy, you know the we can say production of invention production of the currency is totally based on the what, a certain amount of gold. Only then the money would be printed or published. And yes, which increase confidence in international trade by preventing government from the excessively issuing currency. Yes, this policy and will control, or this prevent governments from printing too much money and increase the credibility of international trade. Eventually, other countries, including Germany, France, and United States, adopted the gold standard. Yes, later on, other countries such as Germany, France, United States, they all eventually began using this gold standard as well. Okay, and by following this monetary policy, they used to printing their paper note. However, the system had its drawback. Notably, it is limited a country's liability to isolate as a separate students alone is economy from depression. It's a recession. Inflation, increase in price, and in the rest of the world. But this monetary policy had a problem, students, and what was that problem? It was also a drawback, and this law made it difficult for a country to protect its economic and recession from inflation in other part of the world. Students, actually, after the monetary policy, the people and the countries, they were facing the problem like this in inflation and recession. And after the Great Depression, it was 1929 to 1939 EC. Countries began to rethink the gold standard, and by the 1970, gold was no longer be tied to currency. Tied means bound. It was, students, this duration from 1929 to 1939. There was you know very major economic, it was downturn, and people, many countries faced inflation and the it's uh, depressions, recession also. It was a tragic moment for the many countries, and after a major economic downfall and the so-called Great Depression, it was called the Great Depression, and it started from 1929 and it lasted 39. Then the countries, they begin to rethinking, and they begin to reconsider their use of this gold standard. Then they started thinking about this monetary policy, and in the 1917, gold was no longer okay included or associated with the currency. Yes, students, in this paragraph, we have talked about the some monetary policy, and how much the money, is printed, and how the government started printing the money on the basis of gold standard, and some monetary policies were introduced, and then some of it has some drawbacks also, and that the many countries faced during the recession time, and later on finally they decided not to include gold, okay, to the currency. This is what we have talked in this paragraph. Finally, we have the last one, that is, I think, the 21st century has given rise to form of money including digital payment and virtual currencies as by Bitcoin. Are paper notes are coins going to disappear soon? Finally, we have a question, student, that all these paper money would disappear soon. Here in the last paragraph, students, in the 21st century that we are living nowadays, and has seen the emergence of new payment system method and alternative currencies such as Bitcoin. We have we will Bitcoin and the ultimate, Bitcoin. Students, have you heard the word Bitcoin? It's a virtual currency, not real currency. It's a digital currency that we often hear about these, some from some media and some sources also. And virtual currency, not physically existence, means there nowadays we have different source of payment, that is digital payment and virtual payment, we can say, like Bitcoin, and there are other form also. Students, then here is a question, that the all will banknotes and the coin will, they will disappear in the coming future? This is the question, student. But I think all these banknotes and coins would be, disappear, okay, after the introduction of all these Bitcoin and virtual currencies. Students, I think the video is becoming very longer here. Students, I have talked about the history of money. Students, I hope you have understood this whole text and comprehension. And students, with that, I come to an end of today's lesson. I will be back with new videos and new chapter again. Till then, students, keep watching my videos. See you in the next one. Have a good day, my dear students.